split ends is more than a story. It's a journey, and I really hope to take you on this beautiful journey that I have. So my grandma used to do my braids. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, and again. She used to say, "Take care of your hair, my love, it defines your beauty." I would look up in the mirror and see a beautiful, feminine little girl. But I thought it wasn't my reflection, my perception of myself or my comfort. Those tight braids felt heavy on my head like intruders. My hair had become rough, lost its shine, and had split ends, like the split ends of my personality and of my gender. The heaviness that I felt on my head started making me look down upon life and upon myself. If my hair was what people define me by, I wanted to show them the real me. I asked my mother for some money for the haircut. She handed it over to my hands and her fingers held on to mine for a bit too long, and she said, "Make the cut look decent. Make sure it's something that you can carry every day, and don't forget, you're going to Nani immediately after that. So Nani is going to see your haircut." I left my home feeling courageous, as if prepared to go on a battlefield with just a haircut. During my car ride to the salon, I was deeply occupied with all sorts of thoughts. My worries of disappointing my family, of not following the tradition of beauty and femininity, I feared losing love. I looked outside the backseat window. It was autumn. The trees were not only losing their leaves, but also their charm. I realized that the society had made my hair such an important part of my life. What made it so hard for them to let me go some inches of it? Like leaves, our hairs grow back, don't they? I reached the salon. I got out of the car and walked towards the salon. As I entered, I saw Swagat in his black apron, ready with the scissors, rubbing it against the coal. It reminded me of a butcher. I was so afraid. I was ready to turn around and run when he had recognized me. "Here you are." Through my fear, I smiled. I sat and I went inside and sat in my favorite leather back chair. Swagat jauntily strolled up to me and asked, "Anything to drink?" I took one look at him and said, "Just top off my hair real short." I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath. I could smell the fancy shampoos and conditioner. I could now feel, I could listen to the snips of the scissors and feel Swagat's fingers gently pivot my head to get the best angle for the haircut. After a few steps, I heard a crunch. I felt something soft land over my shoulder. My head felt light. I opened my eyes. Only about 3 inches of hair was remaining in the front. I couldn't stop staring at my reflection, at my true self. Till this day, the mirror never felt as a true friend. Never good enough to show me my true self, but not today. I saw a feminine little boy taking form in the mirror, and I wondered where he was for so long, and why hadn't he arrived earlier. Just when a senior hairstylist comes to me and said, "You look great," I smiled straight into Swagat's eyes and said, "Thank you." He knew how much this first step towards self-acceptance meant to me. I went back into the car and suddenly I remembered of my nanny. My nanny was an ideal housewife who did her chores only according to what her male counterparts approved of. Would she accept me breaking barriers? Would she accept me? Would she reject me? Would she still love me? I don't know. I reached my nanny's house. I wore a cap. I thought I could deceive her into believing that I hadn't cut my hair. But I didn't want compromises. Compromises now felt like lies. So I removed the cap. I could see my grandmother walk towards the grave. And I called out, "Chaiji, mein aa gaya," trying to make it sound like it usually did. She came and she opened the gate. Her hands reached out to touch my hair. I could feel her slender fingers touch my hair to the roots. I I could see the quizzical expression in her eyes, wondering what I had done with my long hair. I stepped in, and she said nothing. She said nothing and occupied herself with setting up the lunch. We ate the lunch in silence. The lunch, the silence, was in turn eating me up. After the lunch, I sat down on the cold marble floor, looking up at my nanny, and my nanny sat on the side of the sofa where my grandpa used to sit. I could feel his presence, I could feel being dominated over by him. Silence was getting unbearable. Silence was getting unbearable when she suddenly remarks, "Aaj India-Pakistan ka match hai." But she looks at me sharply and immediately adds, "Ab dobara mat katna. Don't cut it from now on." At that moment, sitting down at the cold marble floor looking up at my nanny, I didn't care how things would pan out later in life. But I knew one thing for sure. The splits in my hair or the length of it couldn't snatch away the love of the important people in my life. I jumped up, ran towards her and embraced her in my arms. I put my head on her chest and said, "Okay, dekhenge. We'll see." Those tight braids, that heaviness had disappeared. It was a new me, but still myself, new me, but still so beautiful. Those tight braids, that heaviness had finally vanished. Autumn had gone, winter had passed, and the spring was finally here. Thank you.